Booster Course Wave 5 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is here, and we're checking out all changes and differences made for the returning courses. The second race of the Cherry Cup is GBA Sunset Wilds. It's a desert wilderness trail with mesas bathed in the light of the not-so-setting sun, filled with cacti, rocks, mud pits, monstrous animal tracks, and tents belonging to exploring Shy Guys. So how does the most recent update differ from past installments? Let's find out. Sunset Wilds in Mario Kart Super Circuit had an aboriginal Shy Guy settlement and a major shortcut, with its lighting transforming from sundown to night over the race, an impressive mechanic for its time. Tour simplified the layout drastically, altering the theming to an excavation, removing most dash panels, ramps, and the big shortcut, but keeping the dynamically setting sun. The Switch revision used this model, making some tweaks to the elements and adding an off-road ramp for the shortcut at the campsite, but sadly keeping the sun and lighting the same throughout the race. Nonetheless, many other noteworthy differences can be found between the three versions. Many of these are gameplay changes that affect the race in various ways. Noticeable immediately, the obstructive rocks from GBA were cleared away for Tour. Other rocks were placed in the off-road areas, and cacti here moved to different spots. The first two bends ahead were softened a bit. Originally, mud covered the trail at this point, and after the third bend were bumps that drivers needed to hop over manually to access dash panels. The mobile update removed the latter two features and moved the mud to the roadside, straightening this section. Ahead, mud between the footprints was simplified and the dash panels were streamlined, with no more bends in the area. Stones were added on both ends. For Switch, these dash panels were enlarged and made into shallow ramps, allowing for tricking over them. And another big rock joined those after the mud pit. The shortcut potential by the cactus at the corner present in the original was made more obvious for mobile. Along with the Prospector tents, exploring Shy Guys were added as part of Tour's renovation, featuring one red, one yellow, and two blue. A single blue type seems to have disappeared since, leaving 3 total on the course in swapped spots. Presumably loaded from their discoveries, the exploring Shy Guys dropped 3 coins when hit by an item. The bend in this area was amplified, creating a shortcut between the rock and first tent. A ramp is positioned in the spot now. This campsite starts earlier than the aboriginal settlement initially did. For GBA only, totem poles in the southwest corner consisting of a Shy Guy, Sniffit, and Toady mark the beginning and end of where teepees housing native Shy Guys could be found. Any driver colliding into a teepee would destroy it, but the Shy Guy inside, wearing a headdress in the Japanese version, would cling to the cart. We can't blame the homeowner. A chain of boost panels was in this area, as well as a ramp by the barrier ahead. This ramp enabled a massive shortcut to skip 2 bends and land near the finish line. All of this was removed in Tour, and the route leading to the end was reshaped entirely. Instead, a stone arch and 2 humps were added before the final bend, with other rocks nearby. The bend itself was altered to bank toward the inside. Around this spot on the second lap, swoops approached from the background, and it was possible to trick off them from a hump. Because there's no night now, these bats do not appear. It's such a shame. The list of aesthetic changes is nearly the same length. Aside from the general lighting, texture, and mild coloration differences, the most obvious modification is the progression of the sunset, or lack thereof. For Super Circuit, the scene turned to dusk just before lap 2, and then to night before the final lap. In Tour, the enlarged sun with added clouds amidst a brighter orange sunset began to turn to a starry night just before the humps on lap 1. And for 8 Deluxe, a smaller, more realistic sun and natural clouds decorate the sky, but it all remains static, never introducing nightfall. At least a couple of condors can be seen flying above now. Furthermore, because of the reflection of the orange sky, the mud looks much lighter. Background mesas were modified since the original, with a single teepee replaced by a couple of tents in Tour. Smoke now rises from these camps. Ever since Tour, closer large rocks in the distance have been repositioned to unreachable out-of-bounds spots near the colored blocks lining the course. These blocks had their order and consecutiveness modified too. Furthermore, the distinction between path and off-road has been more apparent, omitting the darker path edges seen in GBA. Smaller rocks around here were removed or resized for Switch. And all throughout the track and in the background, many spectators were added, including waving Shy Guys in the tents. Over at the starting line, a banner with the classic font was added in Tour, attached to flagpoles planted in green pipes. The 48x4 black and white checks became 16x3 in white and 2 shades of orange, and the brown starting grid turned white. For 8 Deluxe, the banner has stitching and sways in the arid wind, while the pipes switch to the same blue as the bordering blocks. Green safety cones are in front of the first and third mud pits now. Animal tracks, possibly from a dinosaur, at the northwest corner in the original were removed for Tour, and others have had their print count altered. A red arrow sign can be seen here in the Switch version, and 2 more exist ahead at the following sharp bends. The footprints were given depth, and those after the large mud pit are shiny from the creatures tracking mud. Nice touch. In the settlement of the original, Shy Guy mask glyphs were clustered in groups, which haven't been seen since. And while it may be the natural camera perspective, the rock arch in the background at the final bend in Tour seems to have rotated significantly for Switch. Furthermore, other than the sound of a condor in the opening, an interesting auditory change is that the exploring Shy Guys all sing and dance in time with the music, even speeding up on the final lap. They sure are dedicated. This music for Sunset Wilds certainly gives reason for singing and dancing. Its style is like an overture of a great western pioneering adventure, featuring brass, strings, and banjo with a 2/4 beat. The original has a softer horn lead in the extended intro and strings leading the A section. Complementing the entire piece is a square wave to follow some instruments and noise channel effects supporting the percussion line. Rather than returning to the A section, it loops back to the very beginning. It's not bad for the classic handheld, but the Tour version offers a more fitting sound. It has a more pronounced crescendo and clearer bells in the intro, a brighter trumpet replaces the horn, and the leading string instrument is more distinctly a very appropriate fiddle. Oh, that's an improvement. The Switch version has the most refined presentation though. Aside from some personalization differences, sustained chords from strings in the intro were shortened. Starting with the A section, banjo arpeggios play consistently. A snare is struck on the offbeat from this point forward, even filling the pause before the B section with its own accent. And the B section itself is more spirited, with robust performances of all instruments. We've struck gold, partners! And that's about it for all changes we found in GBA Sunset Wilds. While the few additional details in the forms of ramps and exploring Shy Guy features are neat, the loss of the dynamically setting sun is a real disappointment, and we only hope that Nintendo will fix it, like with the parking lot cars of Wii Coconut Mall. But what do you think? Have you found any notable changes that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Booster Course Wave 5 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and other things Nintendo too. Thanks for watching. Until next time, ciao.